The statistics are alarming. Most people say that when someone tries to get sober, they have a 95% failure rate. That means if 95 people walk in the door really desiring to get sober, really wanting to change their life, only 5% end up making sobriety a long-term lifestyle. So in this talk, we want to talk about what is that all about, right? I mean, if we were to go out there and have a 95% failure rate on anything, we wouldn't be doing so good. That's not good. Like if I came home from school one day and said, hey, I got a 5%, I only got 95% wrong, I'd probably get kicked out of school and, they'd probably be like, hey, you might need a little help here, buddy. So we want to look at this and understand what it is that makes people unable to get sober. And I think we've found out a lot of different things. When I was trying to get sober, people told me it was all about willpower. If I could just put the drink down and never pick it up again, I'd be sober. But you and I know that's very difficult. When I was trying to get sober, people told me, hey, you know what? It's all about consistency. You just got to go to enough meetings. But I actually found out as a drinker going to meetings, all meetings did is make me want to drink more. And everyone in those meetings was coming in and out. And I'd see this guy who'd been sober for a couple of weeks. The next week, he'll say he'd drink. Sober a couple of weeks. It was like a revolving door of why can't these people stay sober? Then we went to rehab, and rehab told us that there was some kind of gene that they found in our DNA that predisposes us to being alcoholics. However, I'm not sure if the science has been proven or not. I'm not a scientist, but I think we have found what actually is the case, and it's something that very few people talk about in sobriety circles. They're going to talk to you about what to do, how to do it, but they're not going to talk to you about what is actually stopping you from long-term sobriety. What is it that makes us go out? What is it that makes us relapse? What is it that stops us from getting the life that we say we want? Why do we continuously drink, even though negative things happen in our life? Why do we continually drink, even though we know we want to stop? And like DMC says, you can't get sober unless you want to get sober. Well, back when I was trying, I really wanted to get sober. It was something I wanted more than anything. I had my two kids looking at me saying, Dad, we want you to get sober. My wife saying, we want you to get sober. I looked in the mirror and hated myself because I was a drunk. I wanted sobriety more than anything. But why couldn't I get it? And why does that person with sobriety find themselves at a bar randomly with no explanation? Well, today we're going to talk about this because I think this has to do with you being able to get and stay sober, and me being able to get and stay sober, and being able to understand exactly what is going on. What's going on? I remember when I was trying to get sober, I used to tell myself all the time, what is wrong with me? I went to therapist. What's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? What is wrong with me as a person? Because if I could fix what's wrong with me, then everything would be okay. And I would look at things, it's my past. I have some trauma. Oh, it's because of this. It's because I was bullied in high school. It's because of this, because of that. Because of all these things. Guess what? Not one of them was the real reason I couldn't stop drinking. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So stay tuned. Listen to this entire talk. I think it's going to be eye-opening. If you're struggling with staying sober, if you're trying to understand what makes people stay sober and what makes people drink, this is the talk for you. Terry, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, and I'm sober, and it's a beautiful day.
All right. Cool. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, what was it like for you when you were trying to get sober and you thought something was wrong with you? You thought, okay, it's a willpower. I can't hold my liquor. What was going on in your brain?
Well, you just said it right there. I was trying to willpower it. I thought that I could control it, or I don't know that I necessarily wanted to quit. I wanted to control it and have control of my life, and things get better that way. And so that's what I was fighting a lot of the time, was just trying to drink less. And I'd think of that every day when I was going to get that bottle. I'm just going to drink a little bit of this, have a few. But I couldn't stop. I'd have a few, and then I'd want a few more. And, my brain was hijacked by alcohol. And I was trying to stop drinking with this hijacked brain that was justifying everything to get me to want to drink more. And that was the key right there, is I had to get help from somebody else to help me start to see what I needed to do to move forward in sobriety and to not drink anymore. Because my brain was giving me every reason in the world to drink, whether it was a bad situation, something to celebrate, anything. And eventually, those weren't even reasons. It was just the fact that I needed it. I physically needed it because I was physically addicted. And then there was no way out. And I see a lot of times people get sober and they get some sober time and they're gung ho, and I was too. That first time I got sober, I was gung ho. I'm going to do everything I need to do. But then this obsession with the alcohol started to creep in. It didn't just come in all at once. It was just those thoughts here and there, and just this uneasiness because I didn't change things in my life. I didn't change the way I thought. And I was thinking with that same hijacked brain. I was thinking, I was sitting around at home. I'm bored. What am I going to do? I wasn't pursuing more in my life. I wasn't pursuing, lots of things that benefit us, like the getting healthy physically, getting healthy mentally, starting to develop relationships. I was still in isolation. And that drove me back to that drink. When I decided to take that first drink, when I was at a meeting, and I went straight to the liquor store, and boom, I was right there. I was full blast right away. It took next day, I was right back to that same amount I was drinking. I even drank more than than I was drinking before. And it was just pure insanity, because that's how quick this can kick in. It was just that one split second decision, but it was the thought patterns and the things I was not doing that led me up to it. And there I was.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't look at and don't understand, and I certainly didn't, was separating the alcohol from the alcoholic. And you might say, well, what does that mean? Does that mean take it away from him? No, that's not what it means at all. Although, it's not a bad thing to take alcohol away from an alcoholic, although they might get a little mad. But what that means is to separate what's going on in your brain because of alcohol and who you are, right? Because a lot of people look at this and they say, well, it's willpower. It's this, it's that. It's because of this. No. Okay? Maybe that's why you started. Okay? Maybe you were anxious and that's why you started drinking. Sure. Lots of people do. Maybe you were uncomfortable in social situations and you started drinking. Maybe you're like me and you were, someone that was like, I want to drink because everyone else is drinking. That's what you do, apparently, right? Got to have what everyone else is doing. Maybe your family drinks and so you drank. So whatever the starting reason is, doesn't matter.
Right.
Okay, this is an obsession I had when I was drinking and I was trying to get sober, was if I could figure out the reason I drink, where did it start? Let's go back to the beginning. And I'd go back in my thoughts, in my brain, and if we could solve this problem back when Marcus was only a wee lad, then we can fix everything. But the fact of the matter is this. Terry drank for different reasons. He started drinking for different reasons than I did. I drink for different reasons you did. Everyone drinks for whatever reasons. Doesn't matter. It could be because it's sunny out. It could be because your life was terrible. Okay? That doesn't matter. Okay? It matters in the terms of, like, it's part of your life, and we do need to understand that. But once you continue drinking, and you drink as much as Terry and I have drank, or as much as some alcoholics have drank, you are going to be alcohol dependent, chemically dependent. Okay, now, chemical dependency, we try to solve with all this stuff related to non-chemical stuff. Right? We're like, okay, here's chemical dependency, but it's because of my mom, my dad, my brother. I lost my job. No. Chemical dependency is because of a chemical. No one ever told me this. No one told me. I had to figure it out after rehab. We learned a little bit in rehab, but it was kind of jumbled up and mixed in, where it was like you had to pick it out and you didn't know, because we did talk about our families and we did talk about that and we did have therapy and we did, meditation and all kinds of stuff. But it wasn't until I understood it was 100% the chemical. Because like Terry says, and like I was, we wanted to quit, but not really. Like, what we really wanted was to cut back. Okay, did we really want that? That's my challenge to you. Did Terry really just want a little bit of booze? Or did he not know a way to live without it? Interesting. And is that really Terry not knowing a way to live without it? Or is it chemically dependent Terry and Marcus not knowing how to live without a chemical that they've become dependent on? You're not fighting willpower. You're not fighting your childhood, your job loss, your spousal stuff. Those are the excuses. I had them up the wazoo and out the wazoo, whatever the hell a wazoo is. I don't think we want anything in any wazoos here. But I remember when I was drinking, my wife would argue with me about the littlest thing. Go to the store and get this. Take the trash out. It's an excuse to get drunk. I can't take this. People can't tell me what to do. I'm going to go drink. And I would associate drink with this, drink with this. I drink because of wife. That's why I do it. Then someone else would yell at me, or I'd have a bad situation with another family member. I'd drink, associate, this because of this. Cause and effect. Our brains are wired to look for effect of cause. You put the key in the ignition and start it, the car starts and you get to go. I know that's going to happen. Next time I do it and the car doesn't start, I'm going to be like, what the hell? I'm conditioned to know that the car's going to start. Now, in our brain, it's different, because we're not putting the blame on alcohol where it's due. That's where it's due. And when you do that, now it's not, I just want another drink because I don't know how to cope with life without it. It's, holy shit, that drink contains the thing that I'm dependent on, that's going to completely throw me back into that dependency, that's going to tweak my mind a little bit to where I don't know which way is up, down, sideways, back, and forth, and I don't have the choice over the next drink. And when we understand chemical dependency, and again, I'm not a doctor, Terry's not a doctor, we're just two drunks that figured out we were chemically dependent when we were blaming everything else. And now, I think we're at, 14, almost 15 years of sobriety between the two of us, which I never thought was possible. I never thought it. Why? Because I was chemically dependent. Bionicle says, I blame myself, and I honestly still do. Blame yourself for the stuff that you did, but don't blame yourself for the chemical dependency. Right? It's like if I go to the doctor and he gives me something and I fall asleep, I'm not going to get mad that I fell asleep. Doctor gave me something. That's what happens. If I drink coffee and I get anxiety, I don't get mad anymore because I know the coffee produces the anxiety. If years ago, and I'll let Terry talk, I promise. Years ago, my mom had a stomach issue, and she couldn't eat things, but we were teenagers, and teenagers live on pizza. And in California, it's all right. I mean, it's not like New York pizza or Italian pizza, but it's okay. It's definitely better than Florida pizza, I will tell you that. And so we'd go to the mall with Mom on Saturday, and she'd just have one slice of pizza, and she knew what that would do to her stomach. And, she'd get mad every time because she's like, man, I knew what that was going to do. I had it anyway, and now I'm just a mess. She didn't really blame, oh my God, my body's so weak, my mind is weak, why can I not resist it? Why can't I just have a slice of pizza like everyone else on the planet? She didn't care because she knew body responds to this a certain way. I have a family member who can't have chicken. Give him chicken, he's in the ER. Boom, like that. Like, it's pretty much, if he doesn't get to the ER, he's not going to be doing good. And he doesn't get mad. He's like, okay, I can't have chicken. That sucks. But he's not going to play with it because he knows what it does. So you got to go and you got to say, hey guys, I know you fry the French fries. Do you fry chicken in with those? Because I can't have the fries if it's there. And that's what we need to do with our alcoholism, is say, hey, this is a chemical. It's not that I'm weak and I can't have one drink. It's that this is what the chemical does to me. Doesn't do it to everyone else. Okay, my family member could be ticked off that everyone else can have chickens. But that's what life is. Can't have chickens. What are your thoughts on that, Terry?
I'm just trying to remember the first point you made, because that's what I wanted to talk about. Sorry, folks. What I was going to talk about was, you had mentioned, you were talking about whether we enjoy the drink, and that's why we don't quit, or maybe it's that we don't know how to live without alcohol. And I think I sort of would take it one step further than that. I did enjoy the effects of alcohol till the very end. I hear a lot of stories of people where they're like, alcohol just didn't work for me anymore. No, I enjoyed it. Now that length of time, that there was that euphoric feeling was less and less as my addiction got worse and worse. But I did enjoy it till the very end. But the thing, and I did not know how to live a sober life. I had no clue on what I needed to do and what it was like, and I wasn't looking forward to it. It seemed like it was going to be boring to me. But really, what it came down to, one more thing that was really something that kept me from getting sober, was I was afraid. I was afraid of going through the detox, first of all, but I was also afraid of what life was going to be like. There was fear, and I had this fear of, I'm going to have to open up. I'm going to have to admit to everybody. I'm going to have to open up to people I don't know about my problem and all my problems and this and that. And there was a lot of fear there, and that was one big thing that kept me from getting sober. And when I was able to finally just not get rid of that fear, because it's impossible to get rid of fear. We're always going to have fear, but just try to control it and say, I'm going to do this, whether I'm afraid to go talk to somebody and listen to their suggestions or not. Whether I'm afraid or not, I'm just going to do it. And that was a huge stepping stone for me to get towards sobriety. So that was an important thing for me in my journey getting into sobriety. And I still have to do that. I still, moving forward in life, I have to try and get over that fear. It's something that holds us back in all aspects of life. It can hold us back. But I just try to push forward. And yes, failures are going to happen. That's okay, as long as I can keep moving, as long as it doesn't kill me, right? But as failures will happen, but I'm not going to move forward if I don't try to control that fear and try. And that's, one thing they said to us in rehab was, just give it a try. Give it a really good try. Try as hard as you can to get sober. Try as hard as you can to stay sober. I mean, we will gladly refund your misery if it doesn't work. That's what they said that every single day. And that's what I had to do, is I just had to try. And I wanted to get this one because Johnny Coley, you mentioned this twice, I think, but I just wanted to, and some people answered you, but I have no intention of going back on the alcohol, but my friends will tease me by saying, go on, have a beer. And now that hasn't happened to me too much, but really the reason that hasn't happened to me is especially in the beginning, I had to push those friends away. And that's not saying that it's like, okay, I'm not talking to you anymore because you guys drink and I don't. It wasn't that. It was just, not going and meeting them at bars, not going to where they have beer, where they're going to say, go on, have a beer. It was inviting one or all of them to, hey, you guys feel like going on a hike? I found this great hike, or whatever, whatever activity, something that had nothing to do with alcohol. And that's how I was able to avoid that in that delicate time, that first year where, it's easier to get back to that drink. Not that it doesn't happen after we're in early sobriety, but just maybe just staying away. And that's what Bayon Bion had said is, yeah, maybe it might be time for new friends. And I didn't have to get rid of those friends. I'm friends with pretty much all of them now. I mean, I don't contact a lot of them very much anymore, but if we see each other or or something like that, we're friends still. I didn't have to change my life completely in that respect. I just had to start to do different things. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think also it comes down to time and being comfortable in your sobriety, right? Once you get comfortable in your sobriety, you're like, okay, it doesn't, I mean, they can ask all they want. They're just trying to be helpful in their way to get you to have fun, because that's what they do to have fun. It's the same thing if they went to a concert you didn't like, right? They'd be like, hey, come on, man, you got to come see Tool. Good concert, right? And you're like, well, I don't like Tool. I listen to classical music. They're just trying to get you to have fun the way that they know how. I wouldn't fault them for it. But yes, as Terry said, distance is probably good for now. Get comfortable in your sobriety to where maybe down the road you can be fine with that and be solid in it. And I think one of the keys there is to understand that it is, in fact, the chemical. It's not, I'm weak, I can't this, I can't that. It's a chemical, right? Like, I'm okay without the chemical, right? Now, there's no real problem. I mean, I've got my problems, of course, but it's nothing compared to what happens when I have the chemical, which is why I think the key, if you remember the thumbnail of this video, the key is in figuring out it is about the alcohol. And Roy says, can I stop forever? Well, it's up to you. I mean, I plan on stopping forever. However, anything in life can change. And one of the things that really changed for me is back before I got sober, I used to think I was really powerful and strong and self-willed in everything except alcohol. I was a leader of my world. And then when I got sober, I realized that I wasn't the leader of shit. I didn't really know anything that's going on. And it really brought me to a place of understanding that, wow, one little chemical can change my brain to where you can't recognize me. And then I started studying and learning about different people who have gone through the ages, understanding things where it's like, okay, we don't know what could happen. I don't know what could happen. I don't know what's going to happen my entire life. I plan on being sober forever. That's my goal. But I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years. I don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes. I don't even know what's going to happen at the end of this call. But I do know I'm going to try my best to stay sober and try my best to not drink, because drinking one is what starts it.
Yep. I don't plan on drinking today either. And so far, that has been my plan every day for more than 2,500 days. And it's worked so far. And will it continue to work? I don't know, but I have a good feeling if I keep doing what I'm doing, it'll work. Maybe I need to step it up here and there. And my intention is that I will step it up if I have to. There's a big issue in my life or something like that, or I start to feel that uneasy feeling of I want more. And I get that feeling. I got that early in COVID when we were all locked up and there's nothing to do. And I'm like, I want more. This is kind of bored. What do? I don't know what to do. And I had to step it up. I had to call a couple sober friends. Roy, you were mentioning that you have no friends. And, when I first got sober, I'd driven everybody out of my life. And I found other sober people that became friends and started talking to them. And found some people that I have things in common with, and started doing activities with them or just hanging out with them and talking. And that's how I was able to develop friends. But that helped a lot, having a support group. Fellow sober alcoholics are a great tool and way to stay sober. So try that. Try reaching out. It's hard. I am a natural isolator. I want to just hang out at home. When I was a kid, my friends would come to the front door and say, hey, Terry, you want to come out and play? And I'd be like, Oh, mom doesn't want me to go out. I just lie to him because I didn't want to. I wanted to stay in the house and watch cartoons. I think I still do now, but Bugs Bunny, that was my favorite. But
Oh,
anyway,
those are good. Um, yeah, I think the key is just understanding, this is what's going on, this is what we have to deal with, and we can only live one day at a time. And we try to plan the whole, oh, I'm going to be sober, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's like an Alan Watts talk. He's talking about, you have all these plans for business and life and family, and you got these plans for your business and what you're going to do and your 10-year and your 5-year plan, but you didn't account for the fact that you were going to slip on a banana peel on the way to the meeting. You don't know that's going to happen. We don't know lots of things are going to happen. My dad's sick right now. I thought he was going to be around a long time. Now I'm like, I don't know. It's looking bad. We didn't plan on that. We didn't know what was going to happen. He didn't plan on that. Life happens, and we are part of it. It's not happening to us. It's just happening, and we're part of it. And some things happen good, some things happen bad, some things might look bad and might end up being good. We don't know. And when we live our life with like a zero-sum type of thinking, where it's like, I don't know what I'm going to get, but I do know I'm going to try to stay sober today. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not perfect. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not the controller of my world. And I think that's why early on, a lot of people trying to get sober adopted the Serenity Prayer. And the Serenity Prayer actually has roots in Stoic philosophy, which a lot of people look at Stoics and they're like, they're people who hide their emotions and they don't feel anything. It's not true at all. What they did was didn't get excited about things that they couldn't control, things they couldn't change. And in life, we get excited about things we can't control or change, like alcoholism. So many of us want to change the fact that we're alcoholics. I don't anymore. I'm like, change it, don't change it. I look at life now as, what are we going to do about it? I used to want to be taller. I'm like 5 feet tall on a good day. I used to want to be taller. Couldn't change that, but I'd get all bent out of shape, and I spent so much time of my life worrying about, why was I born shorter than everyone else? And not just like a couple inches. I'm like a foot shorter than everyone else. And it was like, okay, why was I so upset with that instead of just accepting what is and move on? Accept what is and move on. And once we accept life the way it is, with all its warts and all its lumps and all its stuff, and we understand that this universe doesn't revolve around me, I can't control a whole lot. What I can do is just join in the dance that's going on. Join in with life. We get so excited about what we're going to do. I'm going to stay sober the rest of my life. Okay, well, you can't eat 50 roast beefs at once. Like, if you went to the store and you're like, I'm going to eat roast beef the rest of my life, that's what I'm going to do. And you go get all the roast beefs and you put them in your cart and you try to stuff them in your fridge and freezer, they're going to get freezer burn and they're going to go bad and they're going to be all messed up. Terry knows, he's a chef, and hopefully he never had an issue with a cart full of roast beef that he couldn't sell. But the fact of the matter is we can only have one at a time. I can only drive one car at a time. People who have car collections, it's like, okay, I mean, if that's your thing, that's cool, but I can only drive one at a time, and no matter how fancy and fast my car is, I can still only go about 75 on the freeway, and even then, it's a little bit over the speed limit. I could still get in trouble for that or have to pay some money or something. But we start to look at life different, and we stop blindly accepting what everyone else says is important. We start saying, why? Why is that important? Why did I care? Why was I willing to bend myself over backwards for that? Now, don't get me wrong. It's good to have goals. It's good to have ambitions. But to an extent. Not if you're a drunk. Like, if your goals are making you drunk, get some new goals. I mean, my goal today is let's stay sober. Let's, try to do some good. Let's talk about sobriety. Let's, start some business stuff. Let's have some fun. Let's relax a bit. My old goal used to drive me crazy. And now I understand it's okay.
Yeah, My old goal was try to drink as much as I can and not let anybody know that, hide it from people. That was it. That was my goal. Crazy stuff. You know, you were talking a little bit about the label alcoholic. And, you know, in my sobriety, I try not to overthink things too much. And I was watching somebody out there, and they were talking about alcoholic. You are not an alcoholic. Don't label yourself. And for me, it's not an issue. Yes, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a recovered alcoholic. There's another argument there that we could have a whole conversation about. Are you a recovering alcoholic or are you a recovered alcoholic? Well, I'm recovered from the insanity that alcoholism produced. But really, the label, it doesn't matter. What I do know is that I can't drink. I can't even have just one. Way back in our comments, I think, I forgot who it was. Let me go there so I can give you kudos for your comment, because we do appreciate your comments. It was Bryce. And you said you're 60, last month you were sober 68% of your days. And that's awesome. That's great, being sober 68% of your days. I have to be sober 100% of my days. I can't. There's just no way I couldn't string together, what is that, 28% or 38%? I wouldn't be able to.
32.
Oh, 2.
32.
My math is not working. I'm usually pretty good with math, but anyways, yeah, I have to be sober 100% of the time. And you know, the title of the video, 95% can't stop drinking. Well, that means 5% can. But for me, the statistic that really matters, and I love this statistic, but if I don't drink each day, I have a 100% chance of staying sober. That is a statistic that matters to me, is if I don't drink, I'm 100% sober. And so it can be done, and I see many people do it. A couple of you commented, just to go a little bit sidetracked here, that your fathers got sober in their 40s. Mine did too, and he passed away sober after, I don't know exactly, 35 years, something like that. But and he had a great life as far as I could see. You know, he enjoyed his sobriety, and I see a lot of people every day. One guy I see all the time, he's 44 years. He got sober when he was like 20, 22, something like that. And he's so happy he's sober. So it can be done for a long time. It can be done for a lifetime. Absolutely. See it all the time.
Bionic says, sifting through the mental health issues that either started me drinking in the first place or came as a result has been my biggest challenge. I feel you there. I went to therapists, I went to psychiatrists, I went to all kinds of people because I thought that my alcoholism was because of other things, and they even have names for it. It's a coexisting condition, or something, some kind of deal there. I'm fumbling over words. Terry's got math today. We'll try to get through this, right? But we have to look at this, and we have to understand that, you know, you can call it what you will, but the fact of the matter is the alcohol is the thing. And when Terry goes back to looking at, you know, am I an alcoholic, a recovered alcoholic? Am I this? Am I that? We're neither. One of the things I learned in sobriety is I am not the sum of the things that I've done. So, like, I'm not an internet. I work on the internet. I'm not the internet. I'm Marcus. It's something different. I'm not the sum of the things that have been done to me. I'm not the bullied kid anymore. I'm not this. I never was. I would just happen to be someone who got that. And when we start to look at that, I got that. I got alcoholism. I am not alcoholism. I got the alcoholism. And the other thing is I'm not the sum of all these things that I believe. I'm something more. And when we look at that, we start to understand that, okay, saying I'm an alcoholic, what does that mean? Well, if you're anything like me, you picture things. When I think about losing my business and going broke, I see my family on the side of the road. That's what I see as a mental picture. When I think about I'm an alcoholic, I think about this guy when I used to preach, who was an alcoholic who always fell in the gutter. And he had one shoe, and sometimes he had, you know, a backpack, sometimes he had a shirt, sometimes not, and he lived on the road. And he was an alcoholic, and that's what I thought an alcoholic was. So I fought that. I was resistant against the name alcoholic because I wasn't like that. And really, all we're doing is like when you're a kid and you're on the playground and little Timmy comes up and says, "You're a sissy." And you go, "I am not a sissy." And you get in a big brawl over the fact that Timmy said you're a sissy and you don't think you are. When the fact of the matter is who really gives a rip what Timmy said? Like, you probably don't even know where Timmy is anymore. And it's like, maybe you're a sissy, maybe you're not. Who cares? Who gives a rip, right? Who really cares? And we have all this stuff about the idea of being called an alcoholic when it's like, forget the term. Let's look at the results. Did I drink a lot of alcohol? Yeah. Is that a problem? Yeah. Well, you could be called a problem drinker or a can't handle your liquor. Or, who cares? Problem needs solution. All names do is put little fancy things behind stuff, and it's like, okay, it makes it easier to look at. But if you continue to drink despite negative consequences in your life, you need to get help. You need to stop drinking because the negative consequences build up and build up and build up. And when we understand this and we separate it, okay, my alcoholism, I don't know how it started. I don't know when it passed the point of no return. But I do know that it did. And I became chemically dependent. And I blamed everything but the chemical that I was willfully putting in my body that made my life what it had become. And I wouldn't blame that. It was like that person you protect, right? Like when you have someone who's abused and they protect their abuser. It's a phenomenon that happens. It's weird. It's sad. It's terrible. But we're the same way with alcohol. We're protect. Oh, it's not the alcohol. No. Don't blame my alcohol. This is the only thing that keeps me sane. I love my alcohol. I love my little pet. Name the movie if you remember that. But when you understand, it's all the alcohol. Yeah, but Marcus, you don't understand. I got this problem. Trust me on this. Get rid of the alcohol, and everything is going to become so much easier. Now, you might have stuff to clean up from the alcohol, but if you keep drinking, you're going to have to clean it up in 50 years when it's 10 times worse or something else happens. Right? I found that I had all these ideas. Like when I was in rehab, I had a list of things I was going to work on, and we're going to therapize Marcus and fix him up, going to the tune-up shop. I got sober and I was like, darndest thing. I don't even give a shit about that stuff anymore.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, that was the same for me. I got sober and the things that I thought were problems weren't problems anymore. This is hard to see if any of you are still drinking. This is really hard to see. And, I do have to be honest about one thing, is that sometimes you get sober and the problems may be getting worse still for a little while. And maybe they're difficult to overcome. But either way, they're easier to deal with if you're sober, definitely. You can take that little step each day to a big problem. And you can eventually conquer it, or at least walk through it. And doing it sober is so much easier. When I was drinking, I would push that problem, go drink, push that problem down the road. Did it ever get better on its own? Pretty much never. It usually got worse, or at least stayed the same. That was important to notice when I got sober, is that, wow, staying sober, life does get better. Life does get easier, and I can walk through things. Yes, being sober, I have to feel things, where before I just push it down with alcohol. Yeah, I have to feel things, but then we learn in our sobriety that it's important to feel the feelings, the fear, the anger, the sadness, the happiness, because there's a lot more happiness in my sobriety, at least. And it's important to feel those feelings. So we're human. We're given these feelings for a reason. And so it's nice to feel that.
And
So,
it's a barometer.
yeah.
Feelings are a barometer. They tell you what is good, what is bad, and what to take out of your life. Now, if we continue to drink, we're like a person sitting in a house that's on fire, and we're like, hey, I'm going to throw this damn smoke alarm out the window because the damn thing is not letting me sleep. And meanwhile, everything's on fire, and you're like, I'm going back to bed. That damn smoke detector, stupid thing. That's what we're doing. When our feelings are there to say, hey, you know what? Stay away from this person, or make this decision, or do this or do that. And when we understand that, it's like, hey, we're going to be okay. And I actually found that having the feelings is a good thing. It's not bad. I used to run from these things, and it's like, so I'm a little sad. I used to, like, if this thing with my dad happened back when I was drinking, I would have lost it. I would have been drunk the entire time I was there. I wouldn't have gotten to see him. I wouldn't have gotten to take care of him. I wouldn't have got to, feel things with him, understand things, talk about stuff. Because I would have been trying to stuff something down, which now I look at it and I'm like, that's part of life. That is what happens. We face things, we look at them, and we understand them. And we don't fight it because it's just part of it. But once we have all these definitions and terms and rules and things that we've put life into our own little box, this is how everything should be. And we find out it's not that way. And we get mad because life's wiggly and it doesn't fit in boxes. And it just goes and goes and goes, and we're part of it. Some things, bad things happen, and good things happen, and weird things happen, and we just go with it. And we try to do the best we can with what we have. And when we understand that, it starts to change a lot. Someone had said, Dennis says, but telling an alcoholic he's not an alcoholic is the worst thing you can do. I think that is a bad thing. Yeah, someone told me I was a problem drinker, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not an alcoholic. Good, let's go drink.
Yep.
I think what I wish someone had told me was, you're feeling the way you feel, and you're in this cycle, not by your choice, and not by something you did. It's a chemically dependent thing, and watch what happens. Just give me a couple weeks, and stay sober a couple weeks. I'll come alongside you, and I'll help you. But just give it 2 weeks and understand. I want you to watch what happens in your mind, because if you get someone to understand, it's the chemical, right? You get people and they're detoxing, and it's dangerous, and they go through all this stuff and they don't know which way is up, and they're sitting there blaming themselves. And okay, can we blame her? Yes, you did pick up the drink and you did drink it. Okay, sure. But you also, you get itchy, you gotta scratch it. Are you gonna blame yourself for that too? It's like, oh, I keep scratching an itch. What the hell's the matter with me? No. It's something that is what it is. That's what happens when anyone drinks that much alcohol. If we're all alcoholics here and we've all become chemically dependent, and you take the amount of drinks that we have, and you say, we're going to give this to the Pope or the king of the no drinkers, right? Take the most staunch person who thinks alcohol is the devil, right? And you take that guy and you give him as much as I drank, he's gonna be an alcoholic. Gonna be. Chemical dependency comes from having enough of the chemical. Plain and simple.
Yes. Sorry.
Do you want to take?
Me sleeping.
Yeah. Take Joseph's. He's got a good question.
I was going to answer this one real quick because Bryce kind of responded, and you said you're going 100% this month, and that's awesome, Bryce. Congratulations on that, and stay sober, brother. And okay, you already took Dennis's. Which one did you say? Oh.
I'll read it for you. Joseph says, I just can't sleep without drinking.
Yes, the old sleep thing. Yeah, that's the way I felt too. I couldn't sleep without drinking. And that's because my body was craving more alcohol, and I needed the alcohol to sleep. Or I should say sleep, because, when you're drinking, you're not sleeping. You're passing out. Your mind is not resting. It's not getting to the full REM place where our bodies need to get appropriate sleep. And maybe you found that you are tired throughout the day, or maybe not. Maybe you're okay. I don't know. I know I was tired throughout the day, and when alcohol was really controlling my life, I had to pass out in the middle of the day too. And then when I got sober, sleep sucked. It was terrible. I couldn't sleep when I was first got sober. It took a while for my body to normalize, and it took a while for me to start to get some sleep. And even then, it took a little while. Things were healing, so I had to take naps throughout the day. I just had to take it easy on myself. And eventually, after a few months, sleep was fine. And I have normal sleep now. Well, I mean, I've been sober 7 years, but I have normal sleep within a few months of when I got sober. But it did take a little while. But I will tell you that you're not getting good sleep with drinking. That's for sure. Especially if you're getting hammered. You know, you wake up with a hangover. I mean, what was your sleep like? You know. So.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Jeanette says, or Jnet, it took me a full year without alcohol to actually fully understand it was just the alcohol, period. That simple. Well said. And it does take a while. And, you know, I think us hammering it in your brain every week maybe will help. I know repetition does help. That is one of the things that I learned is repeating things can help. There's certain things that you will learn that will help you get through stuff. Maybe understanding, hey, this isn't really the way I think it is. My feelings aren't gonna kill me. I don't need to drink. That's just my mind wanting something. There's little things you'll have that will help. And on the sleeping topic, you're gonna fall asleep eventually. I mean, it might not be the greatest, but you'll slowly train yourself to do that. What I did in early sobriety is I was sitting there and I was up till 3 in the morning because I couldn't sleep. Everyone was asleep, and I'm like, what in the hell? I mean, I guess I could go to work because I work from home online, and I could work anytime. But that got me in the cycle of, you know, that's what I did when I drank. I drank and worked 24 hours a day, off and on, give or take a few pass outs. But instead, what I did was I fired up my phone and I downloaded a bunch of talks from Alan Watts, Ram Dass, all kinds of things. I mean, I listened to everything. They gave me some award on Audible because I paid too much money for audiobooks. But all those audiobooks are cheaper than drinking. And what I did was I listened to them every night and I fall asleep to them. Like, I'm there and I have coffee at night like an idiot sometimes. And then I'm like, why can't I sleep? And I get my phone and I'm like, all right, here's a 12-hour book. We're going to listen to the whole thing tonight. And then I wake up and I'm like, I didn't even get past the prologue. You know, I fell asleep. But worst case scenario, you listen to something good and you are resting. So one of the things I learned in sobriety is if you're resting, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because it gets you out of your brain. But the problem is you're going to fight it and you're going to keep going and going and going and going and going and going. And that's not sleeping. That's not resting. That's OCDing. But if you just give in and say, hey, you know what? I might not fall asleep. I might fall asleep. But I'm going to listen to this talk and learn something new. And we'll see where it takes me.
Yes. Bryce says, do you guys think a lack of trust in oneself to stick to their words is nearly as big a factor as the chemical dependence? Like, as many people say, they'll quit, but don't. They lose faith in themselves. And sure, I guess. But for me, what I had to do was I had to develop some things that made me self-accountable. And that was telling people what I'm going to do, have somebody I can call if I was to go to a party or something like that. And just starting to work a sobriety program. And not just doing it all on my own in isolation, but doing it with other people so that they might hold me, you know, hey, where were you? Hey, did you do this? You know, and just starting to do things. And the self-accountability was big for me. And is it as big a factor as chemical dependence? Well, you know, the physical chemical dependence kind of goes away after that first couple of weeks, and it becomes a mental issue. And that's what we try to do in our program is deal with the mental aspects of staying sober, because that's where, sure, a lot of people start drinking right away when they're still in that physical dependent state, but just as many people will fail because of that mental obsession with alcohol and maybe not getting themselves going in the right direction in sobriety. So the answer would be yes.
I have a little bit different take on that. I'm going to read it again just because I think there's something interesting in there. Do you guys think that a lack of trust in oneself to stick to their words is nearly as big as a factor as chemical dependency? When I was trying to get sober, I thought it was a bigger one. I remember one week I had a therapist. It was a little unorthodox. And I had to write down that I don't trust myself. I couldn't say it out loud because I was such a bumbling mess. I couldn't think straight. And I thought that a lot of this was about me not trusting. And the second part of Bryce's question was, like, as people say they'll quit and they don't, they lose faith in themselves. I would say that that is because of chemical dependency. Because if we can strip it out and get them to understand the reason you can't quit is because you're chemically dependent. Yeah, but you don't understand. I tried. Doesn't matter how hard you try. You are fighting a chemical dependency. And in the old days, I hate to bring up this example, but it is part of the history of humanity, and it's sad. They used to do crazy things to people to try to fix mental health. They do shock things and weird treatments. And when they did those treatments, those people responded, right? Some people that had the shock thing, they just wouldn't be the same person anymore. Is it because they're weak and they couldn't handle the shock? Is it because their brain wasn't strong enough? Is it because of some flaw in that person? Or did running the volts through the brain cause that issue? And what my argument is that the alcohol is going to do that to some people. Now, some people, they'd have some treatments and they'd be fine. Yeah. Some people would not. I'm one of those people who would not. And until I understood that, it was about everything but the drink. And when I understood that, my life changed because now I'm not battling this. I could give up and say, it's the freaking drink. That's what it is. Don't put that in my mouth. I'm good. Now, instead of, oh, well, tell me about your mother and your father and where did you grow up? Was it a kind place? Or now it's about don't put in, don't get out. Now all I got to do is face it and say, I'm not going to take that first drink. Not going to take it. Not going to take it. When I really want it, not going to take it. Why? Because I know what it's going to do. Not going to take it. Not going to have it. And every day, not going to have it. Not going to have it. Because I understand that. And when you understand that, I think everything changes.
Yes. Thanks. I was thinking the same thing when Marcus was giving that analogy. One flew over the cuckoo's nest. Yeah,
I was thinking that too.
they tried all sorts of crazy things. And Christine says it is biological and neurological. Absolutely. And yes, before I got sober, it was definitely trust in myself. I did not trust myself. And I stayed drinking.
Jensen, still can't stop having nightmares and no quality sleep after 19 months. Jensen, what I would do is you could see a doctor. That's definitely good. You should always see a doctor. It's always good to see a doctor. I need to see one. But what we want to do is log what you eat and drink throughout the day and just keep track of it and say, oh, well, it was worse this night and this night. Or some people can't handle things like my wife can watch ER shows and murder mysteries and all this stuff and just go to bed like a baby. She just falls asleep. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude's going to come in the house. I know it's acting, but you know what? The guy, he's out there. There's something hit the door. Oh, it's a tree. We're good. We're good. It's not. What if it was a baton? What if they're here? And I'll flip out. But watch that. Watch what happens. Watch what goes on. Start to learn how your body works. What did you do? What did you say? How did you feel? Try some tea and herbs, maybe instead of something else, and understand that stuff.
Yeah.
Christine, good to have you here too.
Yep.
And
I found no more caffeine after like 2 p.m. Make sure I'm not drinking anything with caffeine. Even desserts with caffeine, and I'll stay away from those. watch what I eat. Don't eat too much at night. I find that having some yogurt in the middle of the day helps my stomach so I don't get the heartburn. I used to have a big problem with heartburn. I was on the Prilosec for years, years and years. And eating healthier started to help that, losing a little bit of weight.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the logging is great advice, Marcus.
And I think too, look at what you do eat. I'm starting, after watching my dad going through what he's going through, I'm like terrified, because it's brutal. Watching it's brutal. And so I'm going to the health food store and I'm getting, lots of fruits and stuff. And every night before bed, instead of having, when I first got sober, it was like sour Skittles, which is like, you might as well just give yourself the condition now and have sour Skittles and cigars. And I'm like, why don't I feel good? Well, you got sober. That's good. It kind of led you through here. Now I'm looking at every night I have an apple, an orange, some grapes. I got a lot of fruit, and you notice it makes you feel better instantly. Instantly. It's the weirdest thing. Like it's sad, but in our culture, oftentimes the quick fix is, something that can be fixed with food. And I'm not saying I'm a doctor. I don't know anything about medicine. I never went to med school. I don't know anything about that. Always see and listen to your doctor, but also have a good diet. A lot of the things we have are dietary, and when we understand that, things start to change for us.
And it's hard too. It's just like staying away from alcohol. The food issue is difficult. I'm a professional chef. When I'm in the kitchen and the restaurant's open, what am I going to do? Am I going to grab the French fry that's just been fried, or am I going to go get a piece of apple? They're both sitting there. Gee, which one are you going to pick? Yeah, so it's the same thing with, it's very similar to as far as when I was in my addiction. Am I going to have that cocktail, that pretty looking cocktail, or am I going to drink club soda? The choice there was no choice at that point. But now that I'm sober, I don't have to make that choice for the alcohol, and I can choose that club soda.
Yeah. Jensen, you might want to see a sleep doctor about that. But I would definitely try, the meal thing works, and I would try listening to talks. Try something that mellows you out, because it will get in there subconsciously somehow. Joseph, I'm an alcoholic since I was 23. I'm 27 right now. Should I quit cold turkey, or should I do an every other day moderate drinking? My first response would be go to the doctor.
Yep.
Because detox can be very dangerous. Very dangerous. Go to the doctor. Be honest with how much you're having. They're not going to care. They probably won't remember in a year anyway. But be honest about how much you're having, because there are certain things that you need to do when detoxing that can be dangerous. And he says he's hallucinating and stuff like that. Alcohol does that. We've all been there. At least me and Terry have, and you have. I had the hallucinations. I did go crazy. I was in a mental hospital because of my alcoholism. And I'm glad I was, because that helped me detox safely. If it wasn't for that, I would have tried at home, which can be dangerous. So see a doctor, and then get a plan to stay sober after you get through detox. And I would go, after I got through detox, I would try to quit drinking for good. But detox is very dangerous. Listen to what the doctor says.
And Joseph, I'm just going to try to drive home that point. When I quit drinking, the last time I quit drinking, I quit on my own, and I did it at home. And I experienced the same things you're talking about. And eventually somebody convinced me to go to the doctor. And if I wasn't at the doctor, so I was in the process of sobering up. So I was not drunk, but it was the detox, and I almost died. Literally almost died. I was in a coma for 2 weeks. So this stuff, detox can kill. It wasn't I didn't come close to death while I was drinking, at least that I remember, but it was a detox. So dangerous stuff, you guys. If you're going to get sober, go to a doctor.
Christine says, yesterday was a really unexpected triggering day for me. I had to go to all these counties to get my police records and court documents from all my drinking arrests. So sad and emotional for me. It can be sad, but it also could be happy if you understand I'm not that person anymore and I'm now free from alcohol. Like, you're free. No one can take that from you. And when you look at it and you're like, okay, those are the things I did under the influence, because that's what they call it. They driving under the influence. I don't drive that way normally, although I'm not the greatest driver in the world. I prefer to have my wife drive. But I certainly drive better sober than I do drinking, which you should never drive drinking.
Never.
But the point is, you act differently under the influence, which is why they call it that.
And I know you don't feel this way right now, Christine, but you know, when you get through this and you work your way through your issues, you're going to have something that's going to help somebody that's going through these same issues, and you're going to be able to tell them how you got through it and how you came out better on the other side of it. So what is, you know, what's hurting you right now will become an asset for you in the future if you're able to stay sober.
Absolutely. Mr. Whiz, I always think about Seinfeld. I'm the Whiz, I'm the Whiz, I'm the Whiz. He says, where'd he go? When life gets tough, I don't know how to deal with it. Most of the time, I don't either. Sometimes I surprise myself. I know staying sober is the best way to deal with it, because drinking, then all bets are off. But, yeah.
Yes.
All right, guys, I think we're about out of time for today. Smash that like button, subscribe, click the bell. That helps get this video out to other people struggling with drinking. If you want to support what we're doing here on the channel, go to talksober.com. Click the big yellow button. You can sign up for less than $1 a day. We got all kinds of tools and audios and PDFs, and Terry's got videos and all kinds of stuff. It's like a 30-day sobriety workshop kind of thing. And you could go through that. There's videos and all kinds of stuff you can go through. Even if you've been sober for a while, I think it's good to go through because it gives you a different perspective. And I think what's going to help is having that different perspective on what to do in our lives now that we're sober. So, talksober.com, support the channel, subscribe, smash the like button, put your comments, and we'll see you over at talksober.com. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, everybody.